At its peak, the Roman Empire controlled over 60 million people across Europe, Africa, and Asia. It was the most powerful civilization the world had ever seen. But what most people don't realize is that Rome didn't fall in a single moment. It collapsed slowly from within, and the reasons behind its fall are still relevant to the world we live in today. Rome began as a small city on the Italian peninsula. According to legend, it was founded in 753 BC by Romulus. At first it was just one of many small settlements, struggling to survive in a dangerous and competitive region. But Rome had something different: discipline, structure, and strategy. These qualities would define its entire future. It built one of the most effective armies in history, not just through strength, but through organization and consistency. Roman soldiers were trained to work as a system, not as individuals, which made them far more effective than many of their enemies. Through wars, alliances, and constant expansion, Rome slowly began to dominate the Italian peninsula. Its biggest breakthrough came during the Punic Wars against Carthage, where Rome proved its military superiority and gained control over the Mediterranean. Step by step, city by city, Rome transformed from a small republic into a rising superpower. But expansion always comes with consequences. As Rome grew, so did its ambition, and with ambition came conflict. The republic became more powerful, but also more unstable. Internal political struggles began to appear as powerful generals and politicians fought for control. Eventually, this instability reached a breaking point, leading to the end of the Roman Republic. In 27 BC, Augustus became the first emperor of Rome, marking the beginning of the Roman Empire. This new era brought stability after years of civil war. What followed is known as the Pax Romana, a 200-year period of relative peace and prosperity. During this time, Rome reached the height of its power. It built massive roads that connected distant parts of the empire, allowing trade, communication, and military movement on an unprecedented scale. Aqueducts carried fresh water into cities, supporting large urban populations. Roman architecture, law, and culture spread across continents, shaping civilizations that would come long after. Oh, people living during this time, Rome seemed unstoppable, almost eternal. But beneath the surface, problems were already forming. As the empire expanded further, it became increasingly difficult to manage. The borders stretched across vast distances, making defense and communication more complex and expensive. Maintaining such a large military presence required enormous resources. At the same time, political corruption began to weaken the government from within. Emperors rose and fell rapidly, often through violence, betrayal, or assassination. Stability, which once defined Rome, began to disappear. Meanwhile, external pressures increased. Germanic tribes began pushing into Roman territory, testing the empire's borders. The Huns moved westward, forcing entire populations to migrate and creating waves of conflict along Rome's frontiers. Rome was no longer in a position of expansion. It was now constantly defending itself and slowly losing ground, in an attempt to manage its vast territory. The empire was eventually split into two parts in 285 AD, the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. This division was meant to make governance easier, but it also weakened the unity of Rome. The Western Empire, in particular, struggled more and more with economic problems, political instability, and military pressure. Over time, its power faded. Cities declined, trade weakened, and central authority collapsed. In 476 AD, the final Roman emperor of the West, Romulus Augustulus, was removed from power. There was no great final battle, no dramatic explosion. Just the quiet end of a system that had once controlled the known world. The Western Roman Empire had fallen. The Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, survived for nearly another 1,000 years, continuing Roman traditions in a different form. But the original Roman world had ended. The fall of Rome was not caused by a single enemy or a single event. It was the result of long-term internal decay. Overextension made it difficult to manage. Political instability weakened leadership. Economic pressure drained resources. And slowly, unity was lost. Perhaps the most important lesson from the fall of Rome is that no empire collapses overnight. It weakens first, long before it falls. And that pattern has repeated throughout history, even in the modern world.